Welcome to another edition of Trump Gaffes. Today I have the lovely Jeannine LaRue. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be a part of this, Leo.
Oh, of course. And Jeannine is a good friend. She's also has her own live stream, the LaRue List Cafe. And she's been in New Jersey politics for how many years now?
Over 40.
Over 40 years.
44 years, yeah.
So you ready for this?
Yes, I am ready.
But why do you think these white supremacists, these various white supremacists out there are supporting your campaign?
I don't know, because I am the least racist person that you'll ever meet. So I don't know. And I don't know that they really are. I mean, you're telling me that, so I don't know that
well,
they
the
really
ADL put out a whole list of 10 white supremacists, neo-Nazis, they called them anti-Semites, who are out there working, supporting your campaign.
I just don't know. I mean, you're telling me this, but I don't know why. I am certainly the least racist person.
But his past actions and words show racial bias going back decades. In 1973, the U.S. Justice Department took Trump to court after former employees claimed lease applicants for his apartment buildings were screened according to race.
14,000 apartments in 39 different buildings, all mostly white tenants. Trump management was charged with discriminating against African Americans and breaking federal law. Donald Trump, then just 27, was president of the company. Elise Goldweber was a lawyer for the DOJ's Fair Housing section at the time and was called on to handle the Trump case.
When the black testers came, they were shown, they may have been shown apartments, but were told nothing was available. Whereas when the white testers came, yes, there were things that were available. That would be the norm.
They even had a secret coding system to do it.
Some of the applications were marked with a C, which we learned that it meant colored.
New Jersey casino regulators found that he discriminated against blacks, women, and Asians.
And I am, as I say often, I am the least racist person that anybody's going to meet.
I have a great relationship with the blacks. I've always had a great relationship with the blacks.
3 sources all told me that President Trump hadn't just dropped a single N-word bomb. He'd said it multiple times throughout the show's taping during off-camera outtakes. Omarosa writes in her soon-to-be-released blockbuster memoir, Unhinged.
Point, though, I think what you're trying to say is he didn't use that word, but he did express incredibly racist sentiments. And I want to quote from your book. You say, and this is you quoting Trump, quote, "I've got black accountants at Trump Castle and at Trump Plaza, black guys counting my money. I hate it. The only kind of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear yarmulkes every day. I think the guy is lazy. And it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. I believe that. It's not anything they can control." Did you write this down right after? I mean, was that off a tape? I mean, you put it in quotes. Is that truly in quotes? That's what he said?
Yeah. Yeah, I did write that down, Aaron, right after it happened. And also when I came back from that meeting at Trump Tower in New York, I was the President Chief Operating Officer, but I had a gentleman, Steve Hyde, that I reported to, and I told him about it because I was concerned because that was really the first time that it became crystal clear how Donald thought about black people.
They're saying, is Donald Trump a racist? I am the least racist person that you've ever looked at, believe me. By the way, I am the least, just so you know, I am the least racist person. The least racist person that you've ever seen, the least. We had a case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
It's interesting that he has this soundbite of saying he's not racist. I remember when he was asked, how do you defend against racism? His response was, well, I hired Randall. Right? That's like saying I have my black friend.
Right.
Well, you know, if it comes to racism and racist, I am the least racist person there is. And I think most people that know me would tell you that I am the least racist. I've had great relationships. In fact, Randall Pinkett won on as you know, on The Apprentice a little while ago, a couple of years ago. And Randall's been outstanding in every way. So, I mean, I am the least racist person. First of all, I have so many African-American friends where they're doing great, and they're making good money.
I've gotten a real glimpse during the campaign. I'd go around with Ben to
a lot of different places that I wasn't so familiar with. They're incredible people.
Congressman John Lewis should spend more time on fixing and helping his district, which is in horrible shape and falling apart. All talk, 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 no action or results. Sad.
Our inner cities are a disaster. You get shot walking to the store. They have no education. They have no jobs.
I say it again. What do you have to lose? Look, what do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. What the hell do you have to lose?
In an interview with Bryant Gumbel, Trump asserted that
if I were starting off today, I would love to be a well-educated black because I really believe they do have an actual advantage.
Today, I'm very proud of myself.
A well-educated black has a tremendous advantage over a well-educated white in terms of the job market.
Even though studies refuted that statement. Speaking of jobs, a black or Hispanic executive has never played a prominent role in his organization.
Because I am the least racist person ever to serve in office, okay? I am the least racist person.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy.
I mean, I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know, honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
How do you feel about the recent endorsement from David Duke?
I didn't even know he endorsed me. David Duke endorsed me? Okay.
How do you feel about the David Duke quasi-endorsement?
I don't know the answer to the first. Who knows why? But I don't need his endorsement. Well, you've got David Duke just joined. A bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I just don't know anything about him.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either.
And what I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
And then in 2011, Trump started the birther conspiracy, questioning whether or not President Obama was born in America, which many viewed as a racially charged insult waged against the first African-American president.
I don't care if you had good marks, but I'd just like to see place of birth. 3 colleges, place of birth. I'd love to see what, perhaps it's going to say Hawaii. Perhaps it's going to say Kenya. Perhaps it's going to say something. I'd like to see.
I would like to have him show his birth certificate.
The state of Hawaii says this is official. He was born in Hawaii on this date. Here it is. Why do you deny that?
A lot of people do not think it was an authentic certificate.
Donald, you're beginning to sound a little ridiculous. I have to tell you.
You are. Well,
President Trump tweeted, sadly, because President Obama has done such a poor job as president, you won't see another black president for generations. A great African-American president hasn't exactly had a positive impact on the thugs who are so happily and openly destroying Baltimore.
I am the least racist person that you've ever met, believe me. The least racist person.
Putin has said things over the last year that are really bad things, okay? He mentioned the N-word one time. I was shocked to hear him mention the N-word. You know what the N-word is, right? He mentioned it. I was shocked. He has a total lack of respect for President Obama. Number one, he doesn't like him. And number two, he doesn't respect him. I think he's going to respect your president if I'm elected. And I hope he likes me. I think he does respect me. And I hope I get along great with him. I hope that we get along great with Putin, because it would be great to have Russia with a good relationship.
No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder. He founded ISIS. And
complaining to lawmakers in the Oval Office about protections for immigrants. Why do we want these people from, quote, all these whole countries here? Mr. Trump was referring to African nations and Haiti before suggesting the U.S. should have more people from places like Norway. A White House spokesman tonight not denying the president's words.
Here's my question. I asked you last time, I said, and some people were shocked.
if you were racist. You knew why I was asking you that. Are you racist?
I am the least racist person that you have ever met. I am the least racist person.
Are you bigoted in any way?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Islamophobic?
I'm a person, no, not at all. I'm a person who happens to be very smart, and I happen to have a certain street sense, and I know where things are going. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
19 days out from the election, you've been labeled a racist, you've been called a sexist. How do you respond to that?
I am the least racist person you've ever met.
I am the least racist person there is anywhere in the world. When con men, who I've known almost all my business life, because I had to deal with them, unfortunately, in New York, but I got along with him, Al Sharpton. Now, he's a racist. He's a racist. But when people, let me explain to you. What I've done for African Americans in 2.5 years, no president has been able to do anything like, because the African American people have been calling the White House. They have never been so happy as what a president has done.
No, I am the least racist person that you've ever met. So many of my friends who are black, they say, you are the least racist person. But no, I am the least racist person that you have ever talked to.
Today, outrage is growing over the forceful removal of peaceful protesters to clear the way for the president to hold a photo op at St. John's Church. And so it began, continuing even as the president was saying these words.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters.
The police using flashbang, smoke canisters, and pepper balls to force the protesters away. After he was done speaking, the president, accompanied by his top advisors, walked to St. John's Church. In front of the church, the president held up a Bible.
Is that your Bible?
It's a Bible.
He summoned his advisors to pose for a photo before heading back to the White House.
After declaring himself the law and order president, President Trump praised himself for overwhelming force and domination on city streets, and then thanked himself.
The president potentially using the Insurrection Act of 1807 to help quell a domestic disturbance. That's not what occurred here.
Jim, this photo opportunity, he didn't even know what to do once he got there. This thing was so badly thought out.
We have now witnessed the president of the United States operating outside the bounds of U.S. law. And
Well, also,
all we ended up with was what the president of the United States looking like a wannabe dictator.
Among the first to express outrage, the Bishop of Washington. The condemnation stretched across the political spectrum, including prominent Republicans.
If your question is, should you use tear gas to clear a path so the president can go have a photo op, the answer is no.
Republican Senator Ben Sasse said, quote, I'm against clearing out a peaceful protest for a photo op that treats the word of God as a political prop. Even Pat Robertson, prominent televangelist and an ardent supporter of President Trump, had harsh words for the president.
And it seems like now is the time to say, I understand your pain. I want to comfort you. I think it's time we love each other. But the president took a different course. Matter of fact, he spoke of them as being jerks. You just don't do that, Mr. President. It isn't cool.
At the end of 4 years, I guarantee you that I will get over 95% of the African American vote. I promise you.
And he says by 2020, he's going to have 95% of the African American support. Why are you laughing?
Okay, so now that you've seen it, what are your thoughts?
I had a lot of thoughts, and I'll tell you, my emotions ran from being angry to being just terribly sad.
Yeah.
First of all, I have met President Trump on many occasions because I am a former casino control commissioner in New Jersey. So I've met him personally several times. And while he was there, I mean, he was always a colorful character, but and I had always read a lot of what he did in New York as far as the way they did not rent apartments to people who look like me. And all of that always made me sad and suspect. But I have to tell you, when I saw all of these comments streamed together.
Yeah.
It just made me really, really sad that our country, 2016, actually some of those things were said prior to 2016 and during the election year, that people still went to the polls and supported him.
I know.
I will tell you on the issue of The Apprentice, when he talked about the fact that I hired Randall Pinkin.
Yeah.
I've known Randall for many, many years. It did not go down that way at all. And I remember as Randall, every episode continued to win and win. He strategized. We were also very proud of him.
Absolutely.
But in the very last episode, when Trump said to Randall, I have a question I want to put to you, and I want you to think about this. And we had no idea as an audience what question he was going to ask. But he asked Randall if he would think about sharing the apprenticeship with another contestant who was a young white woman.
Yeah.
And all of us were yelling at the TV, no, Randall, don't do this. You're the first one who's been asked to do this. Don't do it.
If you were me, would you hire Rebecca also?
Mr. Trump, I firmly believe that this is the apprentice, that there is one and only one apprentice, and if we're going to hire someone tonight, it should be one. What went through my mind then is what goes through my mind now, which is basically, this was a clear and decisive victory. If you look at every objective measure of my performance against my adversary, undefeated record versus losing record, winning team record versus losing team record. When every team had a chance to draft, they drafted me. When they released a wicked play, they released her. And even when I asked the cast to stand at the finale, which was what I did, 14 of the 16 members of the cast said Randall should be the sole winner this evening, and 2 said Rebecca.
Do you think, Donald, it was fair to do what you did?
No.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm curious. Because, you know, I felt for the guy. When you put him in that spot, it was a no-win spot.
Well, thank you very much for watching. I know it was a very frustrating, it's a difficult thing to watch, but it's, I think, very important that people see it. You know, it's easy when you see a comment that, or a behavior that you've seen him do once and then twice, but when you see it over the course of so many years all together, it just really proves that this man is clearly a racist.
I just want to say one last thing.
Of course.
I want folks to understand that these racist comments, while many of these comments are directed toward Blacks, this is about our country. Absolutely. It's not about Blacks. And I'm hoping as people look at your video that they will do exactly what they have done after the George Floyd execution. They will understand that this is about all of us. It's not just about Black people.
Absolutely.
So I thank you, Leo, for doing this, and I'm really, really hoping it will make a difference.